Hi y'all! At least one of you who watch this channel requested that we offer some tips about how to get started in the process of overcoming trauma by shedding like a horse. Now, if you're new to our channel and you have stumbled upon this video first, the idea may seem a bit ridiculous to you. And by the way, if you're new here, hi, my name is Risha, and I'm one of the owners and practitioners at Pecan Creek Ranch, where we help people transform their lives through equine-assisted therapy and learning services. In a nutshell, we partner with horses to provide mental health services to individuals, groups, and families. And this year we decided we wanted to try to reach more people by bringing our unique experiences and ways of thinking, sometimes radical ways of thinking, to a larger platform. Now, while these videos are not a substitute for receiving therapeutic services from a qualified professional, our aim is to provide information and maybe a little bit of light entertainment that may be of use to you in your personal growth. In a previous video, which I will link here and in the description, we discussed how humans overcoming trauma can be a lot like the process horses go through in the spring, trading their winter coat for one that is more suitable to the conditions of summer weather. If you want to start with that video, or if you have already seen it and just want a refresher, please go watch it. For this video, we are going to give some tips to getting started on a journey to overcoming trauma by shedding like a horse. Settle in and let's get started. Identifying what you need to shed may seem straightforward, but it can often be a lot more complex and involved than anticipated. When people come to us for therapy and we ask why they are here, they often start with describing symptoms they are experiencing. This ranges from unexplained persistent moods, feelings, or thoughts, unwanted behaviors, to just general difficulty functioning in life. To illustrate this difficulty in identifying what needs to be shed and how it may play out, we'll return to the example of the horse. So let's say there's a horse who can talk, and he has not yet shed his winter coat. And it's June in Central Texas with hot, humid weather all day and night. He might tell us that he needs help with feeling overwhelmingly hot all the time, maybe feeling hungry all the time, no matter what he eats. He may have trouble maintaining his weight. He may be feeling sluggish and cranky. He could be struggling to get along with his herd mates, not having motivation to play with other horses or go for rides with his people. And he may not see these as symptoms of his winter coat needing to be shed, especially if he had gone through numerous summers of his coat not shedding. And while it may seem evident to us that his winter coat needs to come off and that it probably has something to do with his symptoms, it may feel normal to him to have a thick coat in the summer. That would make it hard for him to identify his unshed coat as one of the causes of his symptoms. In fact, he may deny this has anything to do with his symptoms and resist the idea that he will need to shed it in order to begin to feel better. This is why he may have a difficult time identifying what needs to be shed in his life. To get started identifying what you may need to shed, you can ask the people around you what they see as your quote-unquote winter coat. Pay attention to those around you and what they are telling you about you. While the people close to us may not be great at being able to easily identify what we need to shed, they are often excellent at shining a light on the clues that we may be missing. And if you're saying, I don't have anyone close to me in my life that I trust to do that, well, then that's a clue in itself.
Wow!
Perhaps there's something that needs to be shed so you can have those kinds of relationships with others. Look for patterns in your life. What kinds of things do you repeatedly do, think, or feel? Do you procrastinate on difficult or lengthy tasks or goals? That may be a clue that you need to shed some beliefs about overwhelming things in your life. It could be that you need to shed your behavioral patterns around work or managing your time. Maybe it is a clue that you need to shed your deeply rooted internal beliefs about failure or loss. The symptom of procrastination can be caused by many things, not just behavioral patterns. Identifying what needs to be shed in order to address it is something that will require some time, some insight, awareness, intention, and probably some help from someone who is equipped to look at the clues from many angles and put them together to start you on your shedding experience, like a trained professional. Friends and family often have their own blind spots when it comes to how they see us. So while they may offer some insight, they may not be able to clearly or accurately help us identify exactly what it is we need to shed. Tip number 2 for identifying what needs to be shed. Take a look at your family of origin. There are a multitude of clues that lie within our family histories. There are often winter coats or patterns of belief, thought, or behavior that don't ever get shed, but passed down through generations. These could be patterns of addiction, child rearing practices, beliefs about expressing emotions, ways of dealing with conflict, and much more. The list is quite possibly endless. A third tip on beginning the identification process is to look at what you may be avoiding in your life. There are usually many things that need to be shed before we can face up to those little gremlins in our lives that we continually ignore. For example, you may avoid conflict, avoid certain types of relationships or people, or certain activities that you know would be good for you to participate in. To professionals who are helping people with mental health or personal growth, avoidance is like a flashing neon sign, pointing the way to what needs to be shed. Follow that sign. Lastly, talk to a professional trained to help people see what they cannot see on their own. This could be a mental health professional like a therapist or a counselor. It could be a life coach, a psychoanalyst, a spiritual leader. Most of us need some sort of help identifying what we need to shed at some point in our lives, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with getting help when you need it. And by the way, if you find yourself struggling with the idea of getting help, that's a clue to some things that might need to be shed. These are just a few tips of getting the process started for you. Have you shed anything in your life? And what tips would you give to someone who wanted to start shedding process for themselves? Are you interested in another video with more tips about continuing through a shedding process to help you overcome trauma? Would you be interested in an online course for us on this topic of overcoming trauma by shedding like a horse? Let us know in the comments. And if you found this video worthwhile and helpful, please share it with someone you know, like it, and consider subscribing to our channel. Thank you for your very valuable time today, and take care of each other. Are you messing with my chair?